Okay. It looks like we should be back up. I apologize for the lack of stream delay. I was on the understanding that it was already set that way. Wow. I take ownership for that one. I apologize. We should be back on. We should have a 2-minute delay. If there's not, we can get this sorted. Stream delay, enable, duration, 120 seconds, right? Okay, I just want to get some confirmation that we have this stream delay set before we get into the next game. Alright, it looks to be sufficient. We are loading into the next game. Can't wait. We have a Zerg versus Protoss. What a matchup. Spawning in the bottom right corner for Clan 10C, it is the Grandmaster's Protoss player. Oh, this is gonna be a struggle. Christianer? We'll call him Christy, yeah? Him or her. Christianer. Spawning in the top left corner for Clan AlphaX, the Grandmaster Zerg player, it is Mamba. Protoss versus Zerg on this map is interesting because you have very good defensive positions here, right? If you're looking to defend 2 bases, it's quite easy to do. This ramp is narrow, you have high ground advantage as well, and that really lends itself to, like, on either side of the matchup, right? If you want to have, like, if there's a spine crawler and a couple queens up here, then your 2 base all in will just get stuck on the ramp, right? You don't have that surface area to flow up with your units. And so what we should be seeing here, is a macro game setup. But if not, then, you know, it's not that the strategy won't necessarily work. Okay, stream delay is okay. Good to get that confirmation. Appreciate that. Openings look standard so far. Not a whole lot to say. We have a 17 supply hatchery going down here into a normal hatch gas pool, right? That's it. If you want to play Zerg, most of your openings branch off pretty well from this beginning decision tree. And down here, we had a gate expand into a Nexus, into a core. I'm not seeing anything particularly interesting here for the Protoss yet. They're just setting the groundwork, right? We're not seeing any proxies, we're not seeing anybody really trying to push the pace or like grab that kind of pacing of the game right at the very beginning here. We have spawning pool completing, surgeons on the way. So pretty soon we're about to see map control switch when it goes from the Protoss being able to run around here with this probe to see hatch timings and gas timings and drone counts and all that wonderful information a Protoss player wants to have. And now the lings are out and the probe has to go home. And the interesting part here is that Christianer now, until he gets back out on the map, whether it's with a hallucination, whether it's with his first Stargate unit, apologies, he won't know that this third is here. He doesn't have this information, he doesn't have this vision. And that's meaningful because he needs that to kind of branch his decision effectively here. The Adept cancels the Shade, he doesn't want to risk his only unit to get that information here, but it would be good to see if the lair started, if the second gas is taken, which I believe he would have been able to see. 2 Adepts here, getting forward. He's able to suppress this creep spread a little bit here. Good cancel from Mamba, not to let that tumor get sniped, but he's got the information he needs. He's gonna trade these Adepts out for drone kills. Looks like he gets 3 of them, a lot of information, confirmation of the 3rd. That was pretty well worth it for Cristianer to make that trade. We have our first Oracle coming out here. No spores yet for Mamba, so these drones are in a pretty precarious spot. Good Overlord spread though, he's going to see it here, get this Queen in good positioning to start repelling. 1 drone, right? Cristianer not going for the aggressive play. He has 2 Oracles, so he can kind of dive in a little later, start looking for those kills. But his follow-up, gateways, robos, it's hard to tell if he's taking a 3rd behind this. He has this maximum gas income going. He's chrono boosting probes, so I would say that this is not going to be an all-in. Probably an Archon drop follow-up is what these timings are looking like to me. That Overlord barely getting away here. Just hiding back on his high ground vision until something from a starport can come by and give Cristianer the vision he needs to clean that up. We only have energy on 1 Oracle to get these kills here, and so even though there's 2 Oracles and you could have made that dive, it probably would have been worth the whole damage to take. Now we have a good defensive posture from Mamba, right? We have a lair on the way, we have Spore Crawlers in the base, we have a 3rd down, and the next thing on his mind, right, the next little flow chart that he needs to follow through with is getting himself ready to defend this Archon drop, because we have the Templar Archives down, Warp Gates on the way, Chrono boosted Warp Prism en route, and a 5-minute 3rd it looks like is coming down for Cristianer, so pretty standard timings here. With the lair, the roaches, well, the Warren at the very least, I don't think Mamba will take very much damage here. At these players' level, it's far less about catching them off guard and getting a sneaky win, and just more about the pressure that the Archons provide, that it forces the Zerg to not just go up to 4 bases and drone aggressively and get that massive army going. These Adepts get a really good position here though. They are able to focus down these drones who have kind of this spore working against them. 8 drones killed there. That might trigger for Cristianer to say, okay, if he replaces those drones, he might be more vulnerable to an all-in. And so this 3rd might become a fake 3rd. Like, I know maybe I'm a little cheesier, but if I killed 8 drones there just by trading out a couple Adepts and knew that they had to be replaced, my first thought would be to not make any probes with that 3rd, create 4 more gateways, and then try to capitalize on that. But it looks like Cristianer is a much more noble macro player than I find myself, and he's just going to steadily start Immortals, head into charge, and continue producing these probes here to mine from this 3rd base. So, macro game setup from both players, decent but not great damage from these Archons. Creep tumors, just controlling the map with it, right? Trying to keep the Zerg pushed back a little more. What I'm most interested in here is how Mamba chooses to follow this up. If he stays on this Roach tech and just uses the 3 bases, doesn't take a 4th, and just cranks out a massive army of Roaches, then he might be able to destroy this 3rd, which looks like Cristianer's already ready for, already throwing down those stasis wards. So he's kind of expecting this, it looks like, and he's killed all the Overlords over here who could make an Overseer that would let Mamba get in here and get that damage done without any impact. We have Ravagers morphing in, Ling's on the way to reinforce, dodging the supply block. Mamba stayed on 49 drones, and so it looks like we actually have the other player being aggressive here, but huge stasis wards there. Takes out 2/3 of the army, just stuck in these little traps. That's going to buy a lot of time for Cristianer to reinforce here. He knows he's being attacked, he knows the situation's dire. Oh wow, snipes his own Ravager with the vials there. They do friendly fire. These Roaches are through the force fields though. Stasis ward wears off. Cristianer's micro-loaded Warp Prism here. He's trying to use these Immortals. Charge Let's get in here, tank for the valuable units. Pulling back. Another Stasis ward goes off, cuts off the reinforcements on that left side flank. And with these Charge Lots coming in, Mamba sees the way it's going to go. GG's out. Congratulations to Cristianer. That gives 2-1. 10C over AlphaX. 1 second, gentlemen. We're going to put it over to a break real quick while we set up the next game. Don't go anywhere. That one. Looks like we are getting back into it. We have our 4th match in the lobby getting set up here. Just 1 more minute as we get everything loaded in. Everybody gets settled. The players adjust their mirrors, set their wrists at the exact angle they need to play to bring us these wonderful StarCraft 2 games. Terran versus Protoss, Automaton. It'll be a good time. I'm particularly curious about the MMR difference. During the little break there, I was Petit Drogo, right? That's an MMR, huh? And then Burning, Hope of AlphaX, full 1000 below. So this should be good. We have a little bit of pressure on Burning here to kind of be that better player and play above his level here to really even things out. Spawning in the top left, splitting his workers, setting himself ready for this game. From AlphaX, it is the Masters player Burning, and spawning in the top right for the Iron Chains, it is the Grandmasters player Petit Drogo. the Protoss. So, already setting for the Reaper wall here. Oh, the GLHF, extending the hand there, always appreciated. AlphaX is burning. He just says have fun. He does not want to wish his opponent good luck back. He says, buddy, you've got 1,000 MMR on me. I'm gonna keep the luck for this round. No offense taken, but if you need luck and 1,000 MMR, then we'll handle that when we get there. Interesting map here, Automaton. I like what Burning is already doing here, where we've seen this kind of change out through the pro metagame, where you just make your rack somewhere else, just keep the Protoss on their guard, just to make sure that they're, paying attention and not trying to autopilot their way through their early scouting. It's just it's not aggressive, right? It's not like the barracks is being created on the other side of the map or anything. It's just, hey, you find it, right? Let's have you kind of open your eyes out and go do that work. Nexus taken by Petit Drogo, normal timing here. Nexus before Cybercore is noteworthy, but not so much. That's usually just a function of map distance if you can get your first gateway unit out, but without by the time the Reaper gets there, without building the Cybernetics core first, then why not take the Nexus? It's a corner to cut, right? Oh. Speaking of proxies, speaking of buildings that aren't in your base here, Petit Drogo knows this is happening. We see this barracks lifting back, Reaper's gonna come up, repel this probe, but noteworthy is that he didn't see the factory created in there. A lot of Terrans will proxy the barracks and then make the factory, but that's not what we're seeing here. That factory is halfway across the map, probably going to be some kind of drop, whether it's Hellions or Widow Mines, it's hard to say. But I don't disagree with this. To play a player of Petit Drogo's caliber, and just to look at your own. Oh, a tech lab. Okay, I'm way off. I have no caster predictions anymore. I'm just excited to see what this is. I just want to see how Burning approaches this matchup. We have a Reaper into the main. There is a Reaper wall, so this is not an escape path for him. Stalker needed one more shot, so the Reaper didn't really get to see as much as Burning probably would have liked, unless he was able to click on that. Did he see that it was Robotech? Alright. I'm real curious. I'm real interested here, where we have a floating. Okay, so we have a Cyclone being made out of this proxied factory, but then it looks like it's going to do a little tech lab handoff here and probably be a cloaked Banshee based on the amount of minerals and gas that we see Burning building up here. Yep, factory returning home. A late expansion, right? Not the latest, but he's definitely saying, I'm investing my early resources into something that will let me pressure you, right? Into something that lets me get some map control and see what you're about. But it's going to be a 3-gate robo opening here out of Petit Drogo, taking advantage of that cheaper robotics facility, taking advantage of that faster warp gate here. This build's been nothing but buffed, and it was strong before. And so I'm very curious to see, with this chrono here, with this warp-in especially, there could be a kind of funny mistiming here, where the second Petit Drogo leaves his base, we see a cloaked Banshee just go flying in. And so this can be interesting as it splits the map. I do want to point out the strength of a Warp Prism against an early Cyclone, though, because once the Cyclone locks on, you can just pick up the unit in the Warp Prism, and that kind of negates the Cyclone's ability to get that damage out. This shield battery here is a very safe investment here. Looks like the Banshee and the 3-gate Robo are going to hit at about the same time. The factory was proxied far enough away that it didn't have time to get a tech lab and a siege tank down, and so we're going to be relying on bunkers for this defense here. Petit Drogo warping in, but I believe that Cloak has finished researching here. The Observer is complete, shield battery, single warp in, the Banshee's deflected, Petit Drogo elevators into the main, SCV's pulled, Cyclone locks onto the Warp Prism too, gonna push that away and try to limit the micro capability that he has. If he can just buy time and not lose too many workers until the siege tank gets out, then that will be a massive advantage here for Burning, who has these bunkers here, but he's not able to fight in them yet, and those bunkers are not covering his mineral line. And so Petit Drogo was able to get this upper kind of positioning here, and now he has 2 mining bases against none, really, with these SCVs pulled. 17 SCVs killed, this 3-gate Robo, just this Warp Prism attack getting so much damage done here, that even though it's been deflected, we now have a huge impetus on Burning to get across that map and make some damage happen. But with Immortals going on, the Stalkers getting recalled, well, Stalker, I guess. What was that? That Banshee? Right. To be on 2 bases and trade out efficiently with a 1-base player is extremely beneficial. If you have that economic advantage and you can take an even trade, then that's everything that you need to set yourself up. Petit Drogo is going to transition into some tech, into some upgrades, so it looks like even though he wants to continue this attack with these 5 more warp gates coming down, he doesn't want to be completely dependent on it. He wants to invest those resources. But until Burning can get some control and get down and establish the defense he needs to take his natural, I don't see this going very well for him. Petit Drogo is now looking, though. He was not expecting this push down. 3 Stalkers for completely free for Burning here. Good micro from Petit Drogo, though, to retreat and get that damage done while he goes. I'm interested to see if we have another Warp Prism, or is that the same one? No, a new Warp Prism was created, misrallied across the map. Banshee's killed in the main, so that damage will no longer be done. Burned completely through the shield battery shields, but we have a full another mining base for Petit Drogo, whereas Burning has still not been able to move this command center down to the low ground. Burning has embraced his role as the attacker in this game. He knows that he needs to get some damage done, but with 8 gateways and charge being chronoed and Immortals out and a shield battery, I'm not really seeing this. This Terran army looks too small compared to what it needs to be to get through this Protoss. Good siege tank shots. He's going to leapfrog forward. If he had the sense to know that there was observers here, then a scan could be very beneficial for him. But unpowering these gates, that's an advantage. But as soon as we see another warp in here, I really don't think that he'll have the tools that he needs to push forward. We have another siege tank, another handful of Marines coming forward. He's got some good positioning, Banshee giving high ground vision here. And so really the decision is on Petit Drogo for when he thinks that he's able to crush forward here. He probably wants to wait for charge. His ground upgrade is finishing in 5 seconds here. Leapfrogging forward. That gateway is repowered, but it's taking heavy siege tank damage. Oh, Burning stims forward there, gets some damage done. Loses the Banshee. Nope, Banshee's still alive, loses the tank. These siege tanks are trying. Petit Drogo, good micro back to save that Immortal. Numbers being thinned all over the place. We have both kinds of Templar coming down, but yeah, Petit Drogo cleans that up and says, okay, you just lost siege tanks. I have a warping in your base. We're done. That is another victory for the Iron Chains. Gives them 3-1 over AlphaX. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the games. We want to extend the hand to Iron Chains. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to play against you. Thank you to all of you for tuning in, for allowing me to try to be the voice of AlphaX for a minute and present these games. And thank you to Sector 6. Thank you for supporting us, and unless anybody has any closing remarks, I guess there is nobody else to this unless I have any closing remarks. That's it. Thank you all for tuning in. If you like it, please remember to follow the channel. We do a lot of events on this. AlphaX is a busy clan. There's always something going on. And so it's an honor to bring you these StarCraft games. Have a good evening.